I'd like to thank all of South Africa for coming into this room this morning. Blacks, whites, Jews, everybody are here. We just want to clear out the continent so we can vacuum clean and make it all nice so you can all go back out when we're done. Now, we have a problem. I appreciate the people sitting on chairs. Why are people sitting on the floor? You think this is a meditation session? What happened? What are the standing people doing for the next 2 hours? Does anyone actually work here? Paging the chief rabbi. He's the kind of guy, he'll go with the chairs. He'll bring them in one by one, won't he? Hi. This is the start. Do the standing people know we're starting? Do the standing people know we're starting? Are they going to stand? What are they going to do? Okay. I appreciate the response. We're good to go? Okay. This is quite a ride we're going to take this morning. Perhaps if you knew what it was, you wouldn't have turned up. But we've locked the doors now, so I'm sorry, there's no choice left for any of you. I would love to go around the room and ask everyone why they're here. I'm trying to get an extra hour for the session, so we'll find out if that's possible. When I was 24, I had no Jewish identification at all. I had no Jewish friends. They say, every Jew at least acknowledges Pesach or Yom Kippur. I didn't. Now that I'm 25, it's been a really intense year, let me tell you. Whew. I'd like to thank Torah. It's a shout out, guys. I wasn't into the Judaism thing, but I was definitely into what is this? It looks like kind of a Russian play. What's happening here? Waiting for a chief rabbi. I'm just making myself at home, don't mind me. You applaud? What is this, America? Can I get a cappuccino, please? Thank you. Is this a prop? What's happening here? So I went for a search. I was definitely a deep spiritual thinker, I would like to think. And I went where every Jew goes for when a spiritual energy is awakening within them and they want to connect to God. Where do we go? Buddhism. Great. Some of you got in there, didn't you? And one of the things I did was a 10-day intensive meditation retreat. Very intensive. It was 10 days. You couldn't talk for 10 days, which for most women is already just like, we'll Kabbalistically discuss that a little today. If you couldn't, and you woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, approximately, and you basically spent the entire day doing certain breathing techniques. It was quite extraordinary. For the first 10 days, I don't know how many days it was, 3 days approximately, all you had to do was inhale and exhale. From 4 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. Aren't you glad you're Jewish? And it's a very fascinating process. I don't know what to tell you. By somewhere around the third day, you're going to think I'm joking now. This is not me being funny. This is me being funny. By the third day, I could no longer find the nose on my face. I'm not sure why you find that humorous. And I actually got up, I ran out of the building, I ran into the forest, and I walked around in circles, keeping on touching my nose. Get that, that's a fun photo. This will be very good on the Facebook page. Consistently touching my nose and saying to myself, just counting to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and going, this is my nose, this is my nose, this is my nose. That's, what meditation can do for you. Isn't that, wow, you're all like in an ashram over here. I'm having flashbacks. I'll stay away from that corner. So it's quite interesting how consciousness can work. Now, I thought that was terrifying. I realized that many Jewish women would love to lose their nose. They would find that there's people that pay a lot of money for that kind of surgery. Around day 5 or 6, I had the aha moment. It's that moment that when you go to ashrams or you take drugs or you're doing whatever you're doing, trying to find that thing you're trying to find, and you have that moment, and it's that moment when you kind of jump out of your body and you launch into the cosmic reality and everything unifies in a single source, and there's a light and compassion, and you see yourself, your old self that you thought was yourself is just 1,000 little bits and pieces, but the true you is revealed, is honest, is opens up, and you're interconnected with everything in the universe, and you're at one in the cosmic order, and that kind of thing. And it's pretty extraordinary. And the whole technique that they're basically doing there is you have all these thoughts in your head, you have all this noise in your head, and what you're trying to do is stop all these thoughts in your head and stop all this noise. We're trying to get it out, try and get it out. If you focus on breathing, or you're scanning your body, or you're doing whatever you're doing. Because this noise is bad, and if you can stop the noise, so then, theoretically salvation comes. The challenge was this, that the meditation part was pretty cool. The problem is what happened at night. Every night around 7, 8 o'clock, there was a little screen at the front of the ashram, and the guru would come on the screen and give a little kind of Devar Buddha, or whatever they call it. And they would explain out the whole philosophy of what they're doing. So I'm going to be blunt, and this is not here as a summary of all of Buddhism. Buddhism is a very interesting path. And I'm going to a little oversimplify it, though the simplification is accurate, but there's more complexity. But everything they were saying on the screen, I started to appreciate it, and then I just did not resonate at all with it. And the problem was because the technique was seemingly powerful and very helpful and transformative. At least I was experiencing something cool. But what they were teaching me at night, I was not at all resonating with. Now, the problem is you can't ask anyone about it because you've taken a vow of silence for 10 days. Which we should totally try in Kiruv trips in Israel to Eshet Torah or Sameach. Do you have any questions about religion? Oh, you can't talk. I'm sorry. Just sign up here, put on the black hat. Have a nice day. You'd think we would be fasted again on that already, right? So you're not allowed to talk. There is one proviso, asterisk, read fine print. You're not allowed to talk for 10 days, except every day for half an hour, somewhere in the early afternoon, let's say 1 to 1:30 during the lunch break, there's a guru. Now, this is Australia. It was very exotic, so his name's something like Guru Steve. You think he could have added a few, syllables on the end of that just to kind of sound exotic and Indian. Apparently, he wasn't sophisticated enough as a guru to do that. And Guru Steve's sitting on the chair in the front. Now, here's the deal, on the pillow in the front. The deal is you're allowed to ask questions. You stand in a line, you sit in a line, and you move forward. You're allowed to ask any question you want, but not about the philosophy, only about the experience. And the deal is, and I don't know why they do this, but he only sits there until 1:30, and at 1:30 he gets up and walks out. Even if it's mid-sentence, something to teach you about patience or something like that. So here's the deal. I have this question, and I need to ask this question, but I don't want to ask the question because if you've ever not spoken for an extended period of time, it's quite profound. Deep things open up, and I don't want to ruin the silence. The problem is that my head is no longer full of silence because it's full of frustration and contradiction. So around 1:10 on day 7, I'm like, I've had enough, and I leave my lunch, and I go join the queue, but I get there late, and there's a bunch of people in the queue, so I sit on the first pillow, and that person finishes it, I bounce to the next pillow, it's like kind of leapfrog, and I'm going from pillow to pillow, and it's 1:10, and it's 1:12, and it's 1:15, and it's 1:17, and it's 1:21, and finally there's a girl, there's Guru Steve and the girl, and there's me, and the girl asks a question, she asks another question, she keeps going on, and it's like 1:25, 1:26, and I want to strangle this girl, but that's not very Buddhist. And finally, it's kind of literally like 1:26 and a half, 1:27, and the girl gets up and walks away, and I jump into the pillow. I have the most existentially deep question of my life. I haven't spoken for 8 days. I'm trying to formulate this stuff, and I'm staring at Guru Steve, and I keep saying to myself, don't bow, I'm not into bowing, don't bow, don't bow. Guru Steve bows, and I bow, and I go, okay, done. I sit down in front of him. So the first thing I just start with, as a nice Jewish boy, is Hakara Satav. I just say, I'm doing it, and it's working. And it's amazing, thank you. He nods. And then I say, but. I said, I have a question about what they're teaching. And if he, of course, says, well, we're not taking questions about the teachings, we're only taking questions about the practice. And I said, the problem is my confusion about the teachings is now messing with my practice. So he said, okay. Now, I can't remember the exact words I said, but I deeply remember the exact point that I asked. And I'm going to try and sum it up for you. And it's pretty much like this, give or take. I said to him, I understand that ego is bad. And I understand that war is bad. And I understand that violence is bad. And I understand that Jewish people do some pretty messed up things in the world. And I understand that the noise in my head is bad. And I understand this idea that we should separate, we should distance ourselves, that we have to come to this equanimity in a different path. I said, but you know what, I just need to talk this out. But you know, there's a beauty in a sunset. There's a beauty in the tree. Yes, money basically is the root of all evil, but you know, money can create incredible opportunity in the world. It can give people health, it can give people education. Yes, you know what, sexuality, I'm a 24-year-old heterosexual male, I said, and you know what, I acknowledge that sexuality can take us to some pretty messed up places. But you know what, sexuality, when channeled in a beautiful way in an intimate, committed relationship, totally transforms the nature of the relationship, even, and I said whatever I meant by this then, even in a spiritual way, not just a physical way. So how can it be that you're telling us, advising us, that ultimately we have to completely separate from the physical world? Now, I don't know ultimately if that is a complete summary of Buddhism. Right? Buddhism is more complex like that, but certainly there's a path like that frequently in Buddhism, and that's what they were saying, and that's what they were teaching here. So he gave an answer. And I want you to listen to this answer because it's quite insightful. He said the following thing. He said, you know what? Yes, there's tremendous beauty in the physical world. And then he said, but the problem is the samsara. Hands up if you know what that word means. How's your Sanskrit? It's good, not good? You learned Sanskrit in King David here? Do they cover that now? Problem with the education of our generation. See what happens? This is what he said. He said, a tree is beautiful. You walk past a tree, you see a beautiful flower, and you adore the flower, and it lifts you up, it gives you energy, it gives you joy. There's that sense of beauty you carry, and you say, wow, I want to take that beauty with me. So you pick the flower, and you take it home, and you throw it in the vase in the middle of the table. And you wake up the next morning, you look at, there's your living room, and it's usually a bit dull, but it's suddenly elevated and beautified by this flower. And the next day you come in, you want to look at the flower, it's beautiful, but it's a little bit withered, right? So you quickly change the water and, you know, cut off the disgusting bits, and then it's beautiful for another day, and it's a little bit more withered, and you're really hoping it's going to turn around like they ever do, right? And eventually what happens, you walk in and all the petals are gone and the water's now disgusting and you have to tip it out. The next day you walk in and the living room is not quite as beautiful as it was when it had the flowers. You go to the flower shop, but nothing is as beautiful and you spend a lot of money. Now you want to have flowers there. Now you like it. Now you don't like it. This is what he said. He said, you don't have any money. A person has basic funds, but they make a little money. They make a bit more and they get a bit more comfortable, a little more used to life's luxuries and a bit more opportunity. And all of a sudden they lose a little money. And suddenly, even though they could live without it before, suddenly they're addicted, suddenly they're invested. I was in a relationship at the time, and he said something that really hurt. He said, of course your girl is wonderful, of course the girl is beautiful, but when you lose her, you'll come to hate and resent that which took her away. Did you guys hear a little what was saying? He said this image, he says, you walk into the ocean, which is beautiful and warm, and the color of the golden sun setting across it just fills up the ocean with a light. It's extraordinary, and you're captivated, and you walk into the water, and you walk into water, it's so beautiful. But you don't realize there's a tide underneath, and the tide drags you in. He says, therefore, the ultimate approach, the ultimate path is disengagement. To step out of the water, to never invest in the first place. Is he right or wrong? He's right. Oh, no, he isn't. Oh, yes, he is. Let me be more accurate. He's deeply, deeply right in the problem. How much Torah is about this? For 6 days you will work, but on the 7th day you will rest. That we go to work, but we stop for mincha. That we eat the food, but we make the bracha. Because Torah says the nature of this world, it will drag you in. if you've studied any psychology, if you have any self-honesty, this is for sure a reality and a truth, right? What's bothering me? So today I'm this fancy rabbi and I learn a little Torah and I'm very eloquent about these things, the dilemmas and the dichotomies, but then I'm a tiny little kid with jeans and t-shirt. I was young and I was cool. Okay, I was young, right? And I'm sitting there and I don't have the words to express this. So all I can think of going is, So I basically said no, and I'm looking at the clock, it's like 1:28 and a half. And I said, that doesn't make sense. I said, but there must be, there's probably a way. And he said, no, there isn't. And I said, there is, and there isn't, there is, there isn't, there isn't. It was a very intellectual conversation. Finally, there's like 20 seconds left on the clock. And I can't hold it in anymore. And I literally yell in the middle of this room, there must be a way. There must be a way that a person could be in the physical world and still be spiritual. And with 4 seconds left on the clock, he leans forward, looks at me in the eyes and goes, are you Jewish? Do you know that term, the mind boggles? You ever play pinball machines and you tilt and it goes tilt, tilt? Someone tilted my mind. Am I Jewish? Why did he ask that? And what does that even mean? And I'm not Jewish. Today I'm Buddhist, and last week I was feminist, and next week I'll be socialist, and okay, you got me on a technicality. My mother's Jewish, my father's Jewish, but what are you asking? And I go to open it, right? And all that comes out of my mouth is, no. 1:30, he gets up and walks out. I'm like, 3 more days. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I close my eyes, enter into the meditation, I go into the cosmic plane, and 3 words stand on the clouds. Are you Jewish? Shut up, get out. Are you Jewish? Buddha, help me, please. Are you? Man, when Hashem wants us, he comes at us with a baseball bat, doesn't he? The last day, the last hour, everyone breaks the silence. And everyone wants to talk, and everyone's chatting, and it was a very frustrating experience. For 10 days, you've projected all these things you think people are, and they open their mouth and prove you wrong. It's very rude of them. But I don't want to speak to any of these people because I want to find Guru Steve. And for 3 days, I've been busting to ask him the following question. And I run through the ashram, and there he is at the office at the back. And my first official question after 3 days, right? I run into my first official words are, why did you ask if I was Jewish? And he turns to me and goes, you are, aren't you? I'm like, son of a Buddhist, son of a... No. So I said, yes. But how did you know? And this is what he says to me. You ready? He says, I've taught this approach many times, possibly to tens of thousands of people around the world. I've met a tremendous amount of people. He says, when we teach this technique, there are people that can naturally get it, and the people that don't naturally get it. There's people who have natural, more spiritual inclination, the more open, whatever terms he used. The people that don't. He said, of the people, of the category that get it, there's 2 kinds of people. There's a kind of person that enters into it, that they hear the words, and the Dharma, the approach, and it resonates with them. And he says, but there's a kind of person that's often very spiritual and can do it, but they're deeply frustrated, and basically the question is always, why can't we be in the physical world and still be spiritual? And he said he happens to notice that most of the time, they're Jewish. And I said to him, I didn't say that because I'm Jewish, I just said that because it makes sense. And he says, well, apparently it does if you're Jewish. Son of a Buddhist, son of a... Isn't that crazy? Today, over the next 5 hours, where do people laugh when I say that? I want to teach you a Jewish meditation. When I say Jewish meditation, I mean 2 things. Number 1, this is an authentically Jewish meditation that has an authentic tradition that goes back multiple generations. This is not some easy Buddhist meditation that I'm putting on Hebrew words onto and repackaging and reselling as Judaism. This comes from someone called Rav Leuchte in Yerushalayim. He learned it from Rav Shlomo Volbe, and it goes back through the Mussar tradition. It's referenced by the Maggid of Mezrich and other great teachers. Number 1, when I say a Jewish meditation, it's an actual Jewish meditation. Number 2, much more interesting for us today, my friends, is it's a thematically Jewish meditation. And by thematic, I mean, rather than saying there's a part of my mind of noise and chaos, and I don't want that, and I want to push that out, Torah assumes that everything in the world is created by God. Malachol haaretz kavoidoi. And if there's a part of my mind that's full of noise and chaos, we ask questions as Jews as, why did it need to be that? And what gift can that itself give me? That even the darkest forces of the world themselves can embody revelation. And I'm going to show you how to do things today that many of these people in this room simply cannot do, and have tried for many years to do. And the reason you can't do it is because you're convinced that that part of your mind is bad and destructive. You have to stop it, you have to silence it. And you're going to see that that part itself contains the power to transform your very use of consciousness and life. And that, my friends, is a Jewish meditation. Because ours is not a path of negation. Ours is a path of elevation. If something's not working for us, it's we do not understand its purpose in creation. It's tachlis, it's nakuda tava. But today I'm going to show you, by understanding what it is, how it works, why it was put there, you can turn it around and the darkness itself can be elevated. You'll find it's one of the most powerful techniques you can use in your life. So here we go. Number one. You guys ready? Fasten your seatbelts. Click. How good is your concentration? This guy just went, oh no. Here's a big question. This is a hard question. Think about this deeply. How long can you concentrate on something for? How long can you concentrate on one thing for, totally uninterrupted, so that not a single other thought crosses your mind? It's kind of like one of these theater things. The king has come to town. The king has come to town. The king has come to town. Let's play this again. I want you to think. How long can you concentrate on one thing for, 100% uninterrupted, so that not a single other thought crosses your mind? Let's hear it. How long? What's that? Not at all. That's not very long, mathematically speaking. People over here, you're the Buddhist section, so you've got this down for 5 hours, right? I don't even know what that is. How long? A few seconds. Hands up if it's less than 10 seconds. Hands up if it's more than 10 seconds. Let's hear 20 seconds, 20 seconds. Let's hear 30 seconds. Okay, so some delusional people over here. This is probably not going to help you. You should give seats to other people. 30 seconds. Uninterrupted, not a single other thought crosses your mind. Would you like to find out? Are you sure? As Jack Nicholson said, you can't handle the truth. I mean, this is going to get really scary. So we're going to do a little study. How long can you focus on one thing for, totally uninterrupted, so not a single other thought crosses your mind? Let's use the most boring thing we possibly can, Mr. Cameraman, the cup. Here is our exercise. You ready? Does everyone in the audience have a watch with a second hand? Watch with a second hand? No? Watch with a second hand? We don't use second hands in South Africa? It's a little far away, sir. Can I borrow that for a second? Great. Do you have a credit card? I'm Jewish, I have to try. Self-hating Jew. Okay, great. It's real gold. This is what we're going to do. Your mission, should you choose to accept it. This is cool. I'm going to give everybody a few seconds to focus on this cup, the most boring possible thing we can find. And what you're going to do is the following thing. I'm probably going to advise you to close your eyes to give yourself a fighting chance. I'm going to count back down from 5 to 1. And when I get to 1, I'm going to say, the cup. And your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to focus on the cup, the whole cup, and nothing but the cup, for as long as you can. And the second any other thought crosses your mind, you ready? You raise your hand. And I'm going to see it with a stopwatch, and we're going to get the average concentration time of the group. You ready? So one more time. I'm going to count back down from 5 to 1. You're going to have your eyes closed. Your job is to think about the cup. When I get to 1, you focus cup. The second any other thought crosses your mind. By the way, if you think, well, I'm doing pretty good, I'm still concentrating on the cup, that's another thought, and you put up your hand. And if you think, I'm going to keep my eyes closed and really impress my wife next to me, for sure another thought, and you put up your hand. And if you think, I'm doing pretty good, put up your hand, okay? Any other thought that's not all about the cup, the plastic cup right there, put up your hand. You guys got this? Everyone raise your hand just to check you can do this so there's no casualties or issues later. Quite a sophisticated crowd. Wonderful. Are you ready? Sit up straight in your chair if it helps you feel like mystical and, whatever. Close your eyes. You can do this. Don't blow it. Don't be a failure. Don't be like those bad people with bad concentration. The second any other thought comes into your mind, put up your hand. By the way, don't try and prove anything to me that your concentration is good or bad. This is just for you now, just so you can be aware and you can experience this. Very simple. Just the cup. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cup. That's really pathetic, South Africa. I have to say that just out loud. Hands up if you're still paying attention when I started speaking. Okay, so I distracted you, so you're also out of as well. Great. How long was that? Unsurprisingly, you're basically like everyone else in the world, at least in this area. That was approximately, on average, 7 to 8 seconds. Good? There was a couple of people in the world, they said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and they went like this. So I don't know if that's bad concentration or bad self-esteem or what. I'm not quite sure. I can concentrate on something for an unlimited amount of time. It could be hours at a time, completely engaged and paying attention. And not a single other thought will cross my mind. Do you know why I can do that and you can't? Because I have a black hat. Well, looks like we finished early today. I can actually do that, and it's astonishing me to do that because I'm super ADD, and most of my life I couldn't pay attention to anything, in case you haven't noticed. How long do you think it takes to train the mental muscles to do something like that? Think how long it takes to run a marathon. Months? Is the mental mind hard or easy to train? Nothing in this world is easy. What if I could teach you how to double your concentration span today? Would that be impressive? For some of you, that would be like 2 seconds, that lady over there. What if I could teach you how to triple your concentration span? That'd be good? Okay. By the end of this session, at 5 o'clock today, 90 to 95% of the room will have an unlimited concentration span without a single other thought entering into their mind, so much so that I'm having to pull you out of it after a few minutes so I can send you all to lunch. Do you believe me? Good, because it's not honest, because that's ridiculous. No one could do that. I just feel so important when I say that. Wasn't it convincing? You went with me? When I'm joking about saying I can do it, that itself is a joke. You're going to be able to do it. 95%. It's a strong group. I'm feeling confident 95%. How is that possible? The problem is that we don't know how to concentrate or do most things with our mind, because to most of us, our mind is an amorphous mass of noise and chaos. We don't understand the levels, the distinctions within it. So I'm going to start breaking that down today. If you're the kind of people that like to keep notes, you should keep notes. This will not be going up online. Watch them reach for the iPads. So I'm going to hold on to your watch forever. Thank you. If I could teach you how to have perfect concentration, what would be the benefits of that? What would you do if you had that? What would be the benefits of that? Yes, someone said something. Pardon? Davening. Davening would be the benefit of that. For the first time ever, perhaps, besides for Ritalin, you could daven with concentration. Hands up if that interests you as a theory, okay? Not everyone is involved with that in the audience. I totally understand that. Fine, so one is you could actually pay attention to what you were saying in tefillah, theoretically. It's the first time for everything. What else, what other value would there be to concentrate? There's a hand way at the back. Yes. It would make you present. You could be in the here and now rather than caught in thoughts of the past and caught in thoughts of the future. What else could you do? Ma'am? You could actually pay attention and actually remember stuff sometimes. Increase performance and productivity, spoken like a true man. right? That's what happens in the world. You could be more productive. You could get stuff done. What else could you do? Ma'am, focus and be successful. Because it's all a mind trick. All of life is a mind trick. All of life is an attention trick. All of life is a stay trick. And the capacity to control your thoughts, the capacity to pay attention is the key to all of that. And what most people don't say, and is really mystically speaking, if I give a more in-depth Torah-based class on this, this is what I would talk about. The most powerful aspect of concentration is not productivity. And against what we feel in the film world when we learn yeshiva, it's not actually problem solving, to solve the problem of the sugya, to make a to understand which way or to understand a certain approach. Concentration and attention is also deeply connected to decision making. Because when you have to make a decision in life, you have to think through all the sides, all the possibilities. Most people's general approach to the most important thing in life, which is decision making, this is what I call most people's general approach, is stall, panic, and then flip a coin. Right or wrong. Because we don't have the mental capacity to sit down and think it all through. But the most important thing your mind does, the Balei Mussar teach us, is connection. What you think about is what you're connected to. Concentration is the power of connection. The Baal Shem Tov says, "B'kol makam she'adam mechashev sham hu," that wherever you're thinking about, that's where you are. He says something very interesting. You are more where your thoughts are than when your body is. And there's very deep secrets we can't go into today, but let's just take the most basic psychological understanding of what the Baal Shem Tov is teaching us. It makes me think of something I dealt with recently. There's a couple, and they come to me, they're having shalom bayis issues. It's not going so well for them. And nothing personal, but 9 of the times it's a man's problem. I have nothing against men. Some of my best friends are men. And as a rabbi, it's very easy to default where, the woman's trying her best and she's giving all that she has, and the man's caught up in his kind of junk. But this is a situation, I'm going in with that sensitivity, but I can't help but feel the man is really saying to me, and he seems to be honest, and I spoke to them one at a time, and I spoke to them both, that the man was really saying he's giving all that he can, and she's just so closed, and she won't trust, and she's so upset constantly and fragile, and if he makes one little move, it's never enough. And I see that he's actually a guy who's really trying. He's actually a guy that's really giving. And you look at this girl, and she's almost not disagreeing with him. So I have to send a man, and I start talking to her, and it doesn't take long to open up this girl's heart and find so much pain and so much hurt towards men, and unsurprisingly towards her father. And we got to this moment when she's 4 years old. And she was out, and she did a little thing, a little tiny thing that little girls do. And her father looked at her and cursed at her and slapped her across the face. Let me ask you a question. How long does a slap last? Some slaps last like half a second, and some slaps last 32 years. In your mind, it lasts 32 years. And this woman is staring at a husband who's loving, who's caring, who's doing his best, but she is more where the slap was than she is in the present. And we are connected to where our mind is. And this doesn't just work in the negative, this works in the positive. If anyone's ever read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, he'll tell the extraordinary story how there are people in Auschwitz, in the greatest hell on earth, and they managed to stay alive to find a will to live, a ratzon to live. Because what did they realize? That, if I'm in here going, I'm dying, I'm trying to survive every day and just stay alive every day, then I'm already dead, even in this place, even if I'm technically alive. But if I start thinking, what lessons can we learn from the Holocaust? And I start imagining I could be teaching, I could be lecturing, I could be in front of 5,000 people at Sinai talking about the lessons to give morality in the world, to empower morality for human beings. That thought itself actually means, and he says that it puts me more there, my body, my whole nervous system is more identified with that. I am wherever my thoughts are. What you think about is what you're connected to, and what you're connected to is what you build relationship with. The more you think about something you build a relationship with. People say to me all the time, I've been married. When people say I've been married for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and you want to know how the marriage is going, I always say, do you feel more love for your partner today than you did 10 years ago? And most people are very bewildered by that question, unfortunately. You can be in a relationship in the same house, in the same home, in intimate connection, but unless you're thinking about that person, thinking about wanting good for that person, thinking about the beauty of that person, the relationship will just be status quo forever. It's your thoughts that make the relationship. It's not the physical closeness. It's not being in the same house together. The capacity to think, the capacity to choose the direction of your mind, to build connection, thus to build relationship. If you think about your visions, your strength, your courage, your goals, your body becomes that, you move in that direction. If your whole life is limited, your connections are limited, all your relationships are limited because you can't concentrate for more than 2, 4, 5, 6 seconds, how can you be in control of your destiny, control of your soul, control of your free will? Do you guys get this? So the concentration technique I'm going to teach you today is all about connection. And that was all the introduction. And now we're going to begin. When you want to pay attention, when you want to learn how to concentrate, there's at least 2 things you need. Number 1, something to think about. Write that down. It's a big chiddush. You need to consciously choose. I want to think about this. I want to explore this. I need to understand that. I want to connect with that. I want to focus on my children, build a relationship with that. You need to, number 1, have something consciously that you choose to think about. 1. 2, you need to create the time to explore that. Concentration is a temporal phenomenon. It takes time to do. There was once I was in a class with one of my favorite teachers, and he said something in the class I didn't agree with, and I argued, and the class ended, and I kept arguing. It's happened before in history. And everyone left, and we went back and forth, and then finally I was going on, and he said to me, Daniel, please, in one line, what's the point you're trying to make? And I summed it all up, and I said it, and I expected him to destroy me, but he was humble enough to go, well, that's actually an interesting idea. He said, I never quite thought about it that way. He says, you know what, I really want to think through what you said. At that moment, he puts his hand in his pocket, he pulls out his schedule, he looks at it and he goes, Wednesday, 2 p.m., think about this idea. And I was like, what? Who schedules to think of ideas? And I said as a joke, oh, how long have you scheduled to think about it? He said, only till 2:30, then I have to think about something else. I laughed. I said, that's funny. He showed me his schedule, 2:30, think about. And I was shocked. And I said to him, I'm shocked. He looked at me, and he was mocking because he knew that that's exceptional. He said, you don't schedule to think about things? And I was like, no. And then he said, devastating question. So when do you think about things? He said, did you hear anything in my class today that was interesting? I said, yeah. Are you going to think about it? I was like, yeah. And he said, when? Now, what's the answer to that question? Have you heard anything at Sinai and Darba that's interesting for you? You're going to think about it? When? Here's the answer. You ready? The answer is, in about 3.5 weeks ago from now, I'll be in a car on the way to somewhere. I've just come from somewhere else, and I just had a shower because I was 20 minutes late. I had to get in the car fast, and I'm checking my cell phone. See on my phone that Jenna called. I haven't spoken to Jenna for 2 weeks, and I started to see her. And as I get in the car, I start calling Jeff because Jenna made me think of Jeff. And Jeff I haven't seen since Sinai and Darba. And Saturday was really fun. Remember that class? Oh, remember that idea? That was really interesting. I should post that on Facebook. Oh, Facebook. Let me check that now. Boom, and it's gone. And when the teacher said, did you think about something? The answer is, I thought about it because it's one of the 427 things that popped through my head in that hour. Isn't that when we think about things? But then how can you consciously build a connection? How can you think something through? How can you develop a relationship with it? So that what we need to do is consciously know what we want to think about and consciously create the time for it. Now, this is not the interesting part yet. Now the interesting part comes. Why don't you do that? And the reason we don't do that is because if I was to choose something and I was to schedule the time, what would happen? It wouldn't actually work. Why? What would happen to you? You get distracted. You'd have about 7, 8 seconds of quality thinking, and then boom, it's gone. There's nothing more embarrassing in our lives as grown-up adults of how poor our concentration capacity are. And it's no more illustrated in the times when we really have to do something and pay attention to it. What's an example? In work or in school, when you have an exam, you have an essay, an assignment, you have a due by date. When the teacher says to you, okay, you've got 3 months to finish the assignment, get to work on it straight away so you have enough time, you go, great. What's the first thing you do? Schedule it for like 2 weeks before, right? Then you get 2 weeks before, what's the first thing you do? I think I can, in about a week from now, I bet I could pull it off in a week. But what's the next thing you do? I bet I could do it in 2 days. Hands up if you've ever done that before. Hands up if you said, I'm never going to do that again. Hands up if you did it again. Hands up if you did that, but you didn't put up your hands because you're too embarrassed to say so. Thank you. So you got 2 days before, and suddenly you're panicked and you're anxious, and you get up early in the morning, you have a shower, and you daven, and you do whatever you do, and you've got to do the assignment. So you run into your room, and your office, and you open up your computer, and the word is loading. So you quickly sharpen your pencils, even though you don't actually use them, and your pens, and you set up the books. You get the book off the shelf, and you sit there, and it's loading. So you quickly go to the kitchen, you get a coffee, you get a tea, you get a milkshake, whatever, a soy protein mix, and you put it in front of you, lay it out. It's great, okay? And you quickly check your Facebook, nothing's there. Great. Email, nothing's there. Perhaps when you're on email, something came to Facebook. No. Perhaps an email came in with your Facebook. No. Great. So now I'm going to start. Let's get to work. History of Europe, World War II, 1938 to 1945. Doniel Katz. Great. Now the real work begins. Do I want to underline that? Bold. War could be italicized. Underline, bold, maybe bold. Maybe different fonts. What are fonts are there? Oh, what's that font? That's cool. That's nice. Maybe over there. Great. So you kind of get it done, and now the work can begin. You go to Facebook, just finish the title page. It's going really great. Well, of course, it's time for a coffee break. Walk into the kitchen, open up the fridge, and kind of do this. Nothing in the fridge. You close the fridge, walk around in a circle, try it again. Here we go. Come back to the computer. What's the first thing you do? Go to Facebook. Did anyone like that? Anyone? Oh, who's that? So they're beside our door, right? And that goes on for like 12, 14 hours. Why? Because we do not have the capacity to get our body into the state. And the capacity to actually create motivation actually comes from conscious connection. The reason that if we choose something, we create the time and we don't do anything is because we get distracted. There's two kinds of distractions. External distractions, the phone is ringing, the beeps are going. And there's internal distractions. The internal distractions are the noise, the chaos in my head. And the longer I leave it, the more nervous I get. And the more I have images of failing, and that thing that I have to do on Tuesday, and that terrible thing the person said to me on Wednesday, and the fact that nobody liked my Facebook post when I posted it, maybe no one likes me anymore. So what we need to learn how to do, my friends, is eliminate that noise in my head. Eliminate those distractions. How do I push them out? You guys get that? Because the ultimate thing I've spent a whole 45 minutes building up is the key to concentration is to eliminate distractions. You got that? Good. The problem with that statement is that you sound like a Buddhist. There's all that noise in the head. There's the monkey mind. And I could pay attention if I could just get that out of here. Is that in philosophical alignment with your general beliefs? Sexuality is quite complex. Let's stop that. Money brings me problems and stress. Let me live a life in a cave and not engage with that. As Jews, we feel in our heart and soul that we are in this world to elevate, not to negate. But our concentration is poor and we keep trying to knock out the noise in our head. What if there was another approach? Rav Nachman says, can I say Rav Nachman in South Africa? That's okay? See if we can clear out the space, get some more seats. The reason you can't knock out your thoughts, this is very, very deep. I would love to discuss this deeply with you. It's not for today. I just want to drop it in. Your thoughts keep coming back. You know why they keep coming back? Because they have godliness within them. They want acknowledgement. They want validation. The godliness within your thoughts wants to be included within you. It doesn't want to be negated. The more you push it away, the more it will come back. My friends, I'm here to tell you today, there's a better way. Malach al haaretz kavoidei. Let's take the Jewish path And let's see something extraordinary of what you could do with the darkest part of your mind to turn into the most powerful energy within your mind. Because the irony that you're about to see is the very thing you're trying to break, to stop, to negate, is itself the most powerful source in your mind to concentrate. To begin to do this, now we have to get technical. We need to do a little mind hacking, hence the title of the class. The reason you don't know how to concentrate is because your mind is not made up of just, a bunch of stuff and noise. It actually has component parts. And all the way through Kabbalah and Chassidus and Chazal, it breaks down all the different names of consciousness. And the names themselves in Hebrew reveal the power and uniqueness and the contribution within our consciousness. So because we just think my head's just stuff, then we can't concentrate because we don't know what we're trying to concentrate, how we're trying to focus, how we're trying to shift different parts in the system. So what I need to do is to begin to educate, begin to make distinctions. All education begins with distinctions. Two of the most important parts of our minds that are in some way relevant to the issue of concentration. Now there's many, many parts of the mind. I do a seminar for 5 days and we break them all down and show you how to use them. So this is a tiny little introduction of the introduction. But you're going to see just through understanding the distinction alone of your consciousness, most of you will have an immediate and massive transformation in your capacity to concentrate. So today I'm going to teach you 2 key words. There's a little Hebrew in this class. I hope it won't panic you. If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger or confused. So I'm going to write these on the board. I want you to all leave these words. I'm going to write them in English about the Hebrew so everyone can read them faster. Here we go. The first word is something called, my favorite word and subject. Doesn't quite work on the board, does it? I can see what it is. Das. The word is da'as. Right? The second word is machshavas. Everyone repeat after me. Da'as, machshavas. Das, machshavas. Machshavas. I'm not being brainwashed? Where did I lose you? Das and machshavas. Hands up if you've heard these words before. Great. Hands up if you haven't heard these words before. Okay, that's fair enough. How do we translate the word das? What's that? One at a time. Hands, please. Great, sir. Wisdom. Usually they translate chokhmah as wisdom, but I see that it could be. What else? What are the words? What's that? Knowledge. It's often translated as knowledge. Well, that's already deep. Chassidus neshama in the room. Baruch Hashem. So often it's called connection, but connection, it has the power of his chabris and his kashrus, but that's not actually what it is itself. It's often translated as knowledge, but knowledge is a tremendously poor translation of the word because it doesn't help you understand the part of consciousness within you. So what I'm going to do today in this program, I'm going to give you experiential definitions of the word rather than word-based definitions, intellectual definitions. How do you translate the word machshavas? Thoughts. So that's terrible. Because there's many different kinds of thoughts. What kind of thought is a machshava? This is why we can't concentrate. This is why we can't connect. This is why Shabbos doesn't connect to us and Tefillin doesn't connect to us because we're in exile. Okay, let's begin at machshavas. I want to give you an experiential definition. This is a little exaggeration, but it's true, and it's a reference point. And we'll come back to this reference point in many ways. Definition 1 of machshavas. Seems to be a large female population in the audience. So let's say there's a woman. Let's say she's a young woman. She's 24, 25. And let's say it's a sunny day, and she's walking down the street. She feels on top of the world. And the sky is blue, and the grass is green, and she has one of these what are they called? Phone, pod, pox things? Good. And she's walking down the street, and it's one of those ones which has like 50 gig, is that what it's called? And there's like 50,000 songs. In America, I saw this line that said, there's so much gig. It was a line for Mac. They said, now there's even enough room for the songs you don't like. Chazdei Hashem. So she's walking down the street. What's it called when it goes random? When it Shuffle, good, thank you. So there's so many songs on there that she keeps it on shuffle. She gets to hear every song every 26,000 years, which is very exciting. So she's walking down the street, and the sky is blue and the grass is green, and she's feeling on top of the world, and this little blue boy comes and tweets on her shoulder, and everything's going fine, and she's feeling happy, and the song ends, she's singing the song, the verse and the chorus, the verse and the chorus, and the key change of the chorus, and it fades to dark. And then all of a sudden, shuffle, 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 boom, that next song comes on, and she's walking down the street, and she's feeling so happy, and the next song starts, and as that song comes up, it's that song. You know, when you know that song. And she starts singing verse, chorus, key change. Oh, it's so beautiful. And of course, when she starts singing that song, she starts thinking about that relationship. You know the one I mean? That you know that song, and you think about that time and that place with that, you totally know. And she's got, she's very happy, and she's singing, and it's expanding, and there's that beautiful chord structure, and right, and starts thinking about the time. And of course, she's thinking about him, and she's thinking about the time, of course, on the bridge. Remember the time on the bridge? And it was that beautiful night, and the sun was setting, and he was looking at her, and she was looking at him. He was so gorgeous. He was so good, and she was like cold. She was cold, right? And then he took off his jacket. He gave it. She gave me his jacket. And she's walking down the street, and she's like hugging herself because she feels the jacket was so beautiful. And that was the moment when she was holding the jacket when she said the lyric to the song, and then he said the next lyric. And she was like, oh my God, you know the song, I know the song! And that was like, it was unbelievable. It was such a moment of connection and love, and I knew they'd be together forever. Of course, they broke up that night, but that's not the point. Because at that time, on that bridge, it was so beautiful, and she's walking down the street, and she's singing that song, and she feels the jacket was so beautiful, so wonderful, and I can't believe it ended that way. How could he have done that? But that's not the point. Right there on the bridge, it was so beautiful, and that's, I guess, why it was so heartbreaking. It was such a shock, because when she got home, and she wanted the picture, the selfie of the jacket, and she posted it on Facebook, and all her friends liked it, and she said, there's Jen. She like, why is Jen wearing the jacket? Why did she do that to me? Why did she do that to me? I thought we were friends. Why were we friends? Weren't we friends? Weren't we friends? And she's walking down the street, and the sky is blue, and the grass is green. She's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. She's like my mother. My mother never loved me either. Why does everyone betray me? No one likes me. He doesn't like me. You know what I would do now? If I was on the bridge now, and he gave me his jacket, I'd like to be, oh, the wind blew off the bridge. Oh, I'm sorry. There it is in the water. Why you see it's over there? Why don't you look up? Oh, I pushed you into the water. Die in the water. Oh, here's your girlfriend, Jenna. Why don't you go for a swim? Die, every one of you! Die! Sorry, I got a little carried away there. But if you knew how beautiful he was, oh my gosh. You know what we call that stuff? Machshavas. Hands up if you've ever had something like that happen to you, with or without the bridge or the jacket. Hands up if you've had it with the bridge or the jacket. I should just ask one audience one time. Hands up if you know what machshavas are. It's that noise, it's that imagery, it's that constant sound. You get caught in those things. Hands up if you have some reference point for that in your life. You've had that before. Not only have you had that before, you probably have that right now. As much as I would like to think I'm totally captivating you, the reality is there's probably a billion other things you've been thinking in the last hour of concerns about before, the past, the present, the future, of other people in the room. Can you stop and consciously watch your mind right now? Think back to the last half an hour right this second. What's a certain machshava that's in your head? I dare you to find one. Hands up if you know what one is. Okay? Hands up if you can't find anything. Hands up if you don't have any hands, but you would really like to participate if you did. You're welcome to just throw your feet in the air. I want you to know right now. Definition number one. Today we're going to give you 3.5 definitions of machshavas. Definition number one. Machshavas, a.k.a., if you follow the Hebrew, the koyach hamadama, the koyach hadimyon, is that constant stream of random chaotic thoughts, images, and ideas that swim around in our heads. They are often vivid, rich, immersive, tangible, 3D thoughts that can include sensory elements such as color, imagery, and sound. They can also be experienced as an inner voice or an inner dialogue, like you've never experienced that before. At their most intensive, I gave you a very extreme example before, but it's happening all the time, even right now. We're just usually so used to it, we can't actually hear it. At its most intensive, they become all-consuming thinking experiences. They become unstoppable, compulsive thought cycles, like an engine running in your head. Hands up if you know what I mean by that. Okay, excellent. If you have something like this is what we call being human. Don't worry, you'll get over it in about 120 years. You ever lay at bed at night trying to fall asleep, but you can't because there's noise in your head? Do you ever go to daven sometimes and you kind of, flick through the siddur and you actually go at the end, did I actually just daven then? Because there's thoughts in your head? Okay, so these are what's called machshavas. They aren't really thoughts. We have to define what they are. Why can't you stop them? I gave you a mystical answer before, but let's just take a basic psychological answer. Do you ever try to stop them? They come back. You stop them, they come back. Anyone know why you can't stop them? Why are thoughts unstoppable? Try and understand it. That's not why it's unstoppable. You could try and understand it, you could stop it. Let me show you if thoughts are unstoppable. Everyone do the following thing with me. You ready? Follow the math if you can. What's 5 plus 3? Do it to yourself. Plus 6 plus 14 times 2 minus 3 times 27 divided by 14. On the sound guy, what time can we go till? I'm sorry, I just realized we're going to run a bit late. Can we go till 1? Is that what we're going to 1? 1, great. By the way, when I distracted you then, hands up if you're still going with the math right now. Oh, apparently thoughts aren't unstoppable. Look how you all completely stopped. So what's the difference between the thoughts that are stoppable and the thoughts that are unstoppable? By the way, the thoughts that are stoppable are called bina. Think about the times in your life when you can't stop thinking. Can anyone tell me the difference? Sense. You know a lot within you if you learn to sense and be emotionally aware of your inner reality. What's the difference between the thoughts that we can stop, thoughts that we can't stop? Sir? These are great words, but they don't help us. What is your conscious and what is your subconscious? Right, but I don't know how would I define? Give me an experiential reference. What's the difference between my subconscious? How would I experience it?
Subconscious causes you to behave in a manner, and your conscious mind is what inputs into your subconscious.
There's truth in what you're saying, but I've got a big plea for you. I came all the way from Jerusalem to say, learn to speak like Jews. If you crack the Torah code for what you're saying, worlds of supernatural capacity will open up for you. I know what you're trying to say, and there's a truth in it. But watch, if you get the Hebrew words over time, you'll be able to unlock unbelievable secrets. Ma'am, a woman will work it out. Watch it. Yes. You can't stop a part of you? Why? They're part of your life, they're part of you. Okay? Yes, over there. See, women, this is the problem with them. They're right and we're dumb. Okay. They're connected to your emotions. When you're lying in bed and I'm thinking about the job interview, I'm thinking about the job, I can't stop thinking about it. I push it out, it comes back. Don't think about the job, I push it out, it comes back. Why does it come back? Because you're pushing it out of the head, but it's not coming from the head. It's coming from fear. I'm thinking, Rabbi. You're not thinking, you're fearing. You're egoing. You're lusting. Definition number 2 of machshavas. Machshavas are emotionally generated thinking patterns. By the way, the subconscious probably aligns with our midot, our desires, right? They're emotionally projecting thinking patterns. The reason you push them out of your head is because, and they don't come back, is because they weren't generated from the head. Hamtakas adinim hi b'sharasham. If you want to stop them, there are techniques of how to stop those, by the way. It's quite easy to teach. We can't do everything in one day. But if you want to stop it, you have to realize to identify and shift the emotion rather than shift out the head. So the second definition of machshavas are emotionally generated thinking patterns. Here's definition number 3, and this is very important to understand. I'm going to take those 3 definitions, and when you understand them, you'll begin to understand how to do wonderful things in your mind. Definition number 3. Imagine I actually come through with the thing that I say, and you quite like this class, and you actually turn up for my 4 o'clock class. Apparently I'm giving a 4 o'clock class. And imagine I walk into the room, and you all sit down on the floors, hanging from the bumper, the ceiling, whatever it is. And then I get on the stage, I go, when I was 24, I was a spiritual seeker, and then now I'm 25. And then I go, well, I was on an ashram, and you're like, didn't we just hear this already? And imagine Doniel Katz is saying something, the closing thing tonight, and he gets up and says, when I was 24, and I was 25, and then he went to this 10-day meditation, and you go like, did I hear this right? Well, you'd probably get up and walk out, right? Because who wants to sit, why do I want to sit and hear the same thing again? What's interesting with machshavas is you watch the same thing again and again and again, and you actually watch it, and you engage in it. Definition number 3, an interesting phenomena with machshavas, is they're actually circular thinking patterns. They're circular thinking patterns that go round and round a point of disconnection. That point is the midah, the fear. And the fear is there, and I start thinking about all the images that are connected to that fear, and I can't change the images, and I can't change the subject because my mind is being consumed by that point, by the fear, and therefore it's generating all this noise within my head about that. So our first definition is the tangible, real, sensory kind of imagery that's running through my mind. The second is what? What's that? Emotionally generated. The third is what? Great. What's das? When you're walking down the street and you're thinking about throwing him off the bridge and you're so upset, suddenly there's a part of your mind that goes, why are you still caught in this relationship? Why don't you let it go? When you're lying in bed at night, you're caught thinking about the job, you start going, this is okay, go to bed. When you're online, right, and you have to check your email and you're like, I really want to be in bed 10:30 tonight. I'm just going to check my email once. And I just want to log onto Facebook, and your conscience is going, no. They always say, scientists always talk about creating a time travel machine. I always think they already have, it's called Facebook. You log on, it's only 2 hours in the future. You ever noticed that before? So what happens is, you're on, and you go, just 10 more minutes. You ever play the 10 more minute game? Then I'm going to bed. 10 more minutes, then I'm going to bed. Suddenly it's an hour and a half. And there's a part of your mind that goes, why are you doing this? You know what that part is called? Da'as. Das is my favorite subject, and it's an incredibly complex, sophisticated, unbelievable idea and how it works. It's into relationship. It has many parts. But today there's one key aspect you have to understand the secret of concentration. Listen very carefully. Das. Das is your conscience. Das is yourself. Das is higher than machshavas and much higher than midas. It's the self-aware self, which is the sum accumulation of all your knowledge, all your wisdom that you've acquired in life, and also your inherent knowledge, your inherent personality, your inherent innate values that exist despite what you've experienced in life. But more than all of those things, what das is primarily is ratzon. It's not just the awareness of what's good for you. Go to bed, you're okay, let it go, get over it. It's the will to act on it. But here's the secret you have to know. And you can be a frum Jew unless you know the secret, because you don't have bechira, you don't have free will activated until you know this. In case you haven't noticed, the will within you wants something. Go to bed. Don't argue with your wife. But it's not strong enough to take control of your mind. So it remains a kol d'mamadaka, a still small voice. You hear it at the back, I really should do that, right? But it's not enough to act on it. It knows what you should do. It has the right intent. It says, let's take half an hour, let's concentrate on something, but it can't act and run it through. You guys get das? You guys get machshavas? Okay, here's the hard part. Now I want you to think for 7 or 8 seconds. To have concentration, to concentrate on something perfectly, which of those 2 parts of the mind must we use? Is concentration done with das, or is concentration done with machshavas? I dare you to turn to the person next to you and spend 45 seconds trying to solve that problem. Go. Okay, my friends. Hands up if you have a theory. Hands up if you have a theory. Hands up if you have no theory. You go through life as a zombie with no intelligent opinion of your own, following your orders. Buy, sell, do what they say. Hands up if you're not sure if it's a theory, but you have something to say on the subject. Really? This is so hard for people? Okay, let's play a quick survey. We survey our studio audience. Hands up if the main aspect of concentration is we concentrate with our das. Good. Excellent. Hands up if you think it's machshavas. Great. Which one's right? Both. Perfect concentration, as the mystics call it, is a zivug. Is his kashrus between das and machshavas. Now, either of you that said, whatever you said, there's intelligence behind it. Why did you think that das is the power to concentrate? To cut the long story short, because with das, we decide what we want. It's my will. I would like to think about this. I would like to connect to it. I'd like to create the time. I want to focus on this subject. Wonderful. Machshava is the power to experience, to connect, to see, to sensorily engage in something. The problem is that das by itself can't engage in anything. That machshavas, I saw in Australia, there was a woman who walked off the edge of a pier because she was checking her Facebook and saw that she broke up with boyfriend broke up with her, and she got so overwhelmed, she was thinking about it, she walked over the edge of a pier. But he was so cute, let me tell you, I can't tell you. Because when you're so absorbed with your concentration, you're so absorbed with imagery, with senses, with machshavas, it fills you completely. What's the problem with machshavas? It has no direction. It's wild. It's out of control. And it's often highly emotional. And therefore, the mystics say, if you want to concentrate, you need a perfect zivug, connection, an intimate bond. That's what they call it. Between das and machshavas, one offers direction, one offers the revelation of that direction. Have you guys got what I'm saying so far? So to explain this to you really in a deeper way, because if you understand the complexity of this, we're getting closer to be able to do this. If I move this forward, does it help? No, not really. Too little, too late. Here we go. We're going to learn some Kabbalah now, and I need you to bear with me. The secret of learning Kabbalah is don't panic. Because I'm going to say something, your mind's going to say, I have no idea what he says, and we all get emotionally overwhelmed and afraid when we don't know what's happening, so we tune out. So what I want you to do is I'm going to say something weird, and it's going to sound dramatic and crazy, and within 5 minutes you'll understand it on a deep intuitive level, and 10 minutes you'll be able to actually do it. So what I want you to do right now is just repeat back the words I'm saying to just capture the raw information. Don't panic. I don't know why you repeated that, but great. The reason you can't concentrate is because you think concentration is a dot, but really it's a circle. What the heck is he talking about? Don't panic. The reason you can't concentrate is because you think concentration is a dot, but concentration is really a circle. You think concentration is a dot, but really it's a circle. In case you can't see what's happening here, there's a dot and a circle. Step one. The mystics say the following thing, that the geometrical representation of das is a dot. And the geometrical representation of machshavas is, thank you, is a circle. You guys got that? Just repeat it in your head. It's weird. I acknowledge it's weird. And if you think you've got that, this is where it gets weirder. The mystics say that a dot is also a representation of men, male, masculine. And machshavas are the property of woman, feminine. And therefore, in summary, don't panic. Male, das, dot. Machshava, female, circle. Raise your hand if you just heard the information. Okay? What does that mean? Hands up if you're part of the 4 group and we spent a nice Wednesday evening together. Okay, so you guys got a bit of head start on this. I'm going to define to you what man is. I'm going to define to you what woman is. And hold in mind, we already said, and I will be sensitive to the words that I choose right now, but we said that true concentration is a zivug. That means an intimate bond between masculine and feminine. The masculine part of the mind and the feminine part of the mind. To understand what that means, I have to do a quick summary for you, and I have like about a 3-hour class on this online, and I have like a 20-part series, but I'm going to do literally in 4 minutes a quick Kabbalistic definition of what it means to be masculine, what it means to be a female and feminine, and I want you to know that every aspect of your relationship, of your partner, every aspect, physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, all the disagreements that you have and all the positive things can all be explained according to the simple model. Quickly, the definition of a man in Kabbalah is called a mashpia. The definition of a woman in Kabbalah is called a makabel. How do you translate the word mashpia? What's that? It means to give, to influence. That's the masculine. Makabel means to receive, to take. Men are giving, women are taking. That's why in relationships you always see that women just take, and the men just have to give and give and give. Isn't Torah just incredibly insightful? Okay, who wants to be religious? Let's go, show of hands. It doesn't really mean giving and taking. This is what it means. It means initiating and manifesting. Initiating and manifesting. Very, very briefly. It's Sar Balechaim for me to do this kind of stuff fast. We'll try. This is the property of male. He initiates, he sparks, he gives over the inspiration, the clarity, the DNA, the creative idea, the seed, the potential, the multi-potential. The goal of the woman is she takes that seed, she takes the spark. Now when I say this, let me hold in mind, when I say man and woman, I don't mean a physical man and a physical woman. I mean the feminine property and the masculine property. With every single one of us, we both have both systems within. I have masculine and feminine, you have masculine and feminine. And there could be women who are very masculine and men that are more feminine. I'm not talking homosexuality. I'm talking to embody more of the certain properties of that. And you may know relationships where the woman is more masculine with masculine energy and the man is more feminine, but they actually have a wonderful relationship together because they still harmonize the full system. So as I talk this out with you right now, and you're saying that doesn't ring true to me, you could be a unique balance. And many people in certain areas are more than one side or more than the other. It just happens to be that women predominantly have feminine, female, makabel sensitivities, and men predominantly have male. So here we go. Listen very carefully one more time. The man gives over the potential, the seed, the spark, the new initiative, the vision, the DNA, the seed. And the woman isn't a taker, she's a manifester. Female means the manifesting force. She takes it, she gives it life, dimension, revelation, manifestation. She's the manifesting force. This is the creative act. If you ever read about Mozart and his genius and how he creates anything, or Einstein, how he used to, be drilling his head for days and days, but then be out walking or in the shower and suddenly an idea would pop into his head. When an idea pops into your head, the spark, oh, I've got it. It's the aha moment. It's pleasurable. It's connection. Everything is unified, but it's there in potential. And then you have to go through the idea in your head to really clarify what are the details, the pratim. That's the process of masculine, feminine. The man literally gives the DNA. That's infinite potential in 1 second, a pleasurable moment. And the woman is the process of mitosis. She breaks that down. She turns that into space and time and makes it real, tangible. That the whole child is in the DNA, but you can't experience, interact with the child when it's just a pure will, a pure idea. But the child is a human being which has dimensions, which grows up over space and time, which gets larger, etc. That's the power of the woman. You see that in the biology. You see this in science, in the cosmos. This is the concept of the Big Bang. The Big Bang, as Einstein said, involves space, it involves time, but something existed before the Big Bang. Does anyone know scientifically what existed before the Big Bang? The answer is a singularity. You see how that's exactly the system? There's the dot, there's the inspiration, and everything that will happen in the universe through all of history and millions of years is all contained space, time, energy, matter, in a single infinitesimally small dot. But it's all there. What will happen is the second stage of physicality. That's why we call it Mother Earth, Mother Nature. You all understand what I'm saying? This is why this woman came to be very angry, very bitter. Why do the rabbis hate us women? What? Well, the rabbis don't hate the women. So why does the Gemara say that women are like dirt? I was like, oh, I guess they hate the women. Thank you for clarifying that for me. The Gemara says, Isha doima lakaka. Women are like the ground. Women are like the ground, my friends. Our sages are teaching us simply because you can have a seed, and within that seed is millions of trees, and within that seed is millions of fruit, but until you put that seed in the ground and you have the support, the compassion, the space, the nutrients, the moisture, you don't have a way to take potential and turn it into reality. Are you following what I'm saying a little? A dot represents masculine because it's not expressed in space and time. It's a singular point of potential. But when it's expanded into dimensions, that's when we call it a circle. Can you see that? This is why, what do you see on the board? Look, here's the DNA, here's the sperm that's inside the egg. Can you see that? That's the masculine and the feminine. Have you ever been to a Jewish wedding before? So you're obviously noticing what happens under a chuppah. The man stands at the central point, and the woman goes round in the circle. Do you understand that? She goes around 7 times. 7 is the aspect of nature of drawing out the potential. What does the man give to the woman to create the power of a wedding? A ring, a circle. He says, you will now be the power of the circle for me. The reason you can't concentrate is because you think concentration is a dot. But really concentration is a circle. You think concentration is only with das, but really concentration is always machshava. What do I mean that you think concentration is a dot? When I asked you all to focus on the cup, and you got a whole 7 seconds in, hands up when I said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, if you just kept going to yourself, cup, cup, cup. Oh, look at all the hands. Isn't that interesting? Because what else are we supposed to do in there? So what we do is the following thing. We go 5, 4, oh no, I have to concentrate. 3, 2, 1, cup, cup. And your machshava goes, I saw some great cups at IKEA. And you go, shut up! Daniel Katz will make me put up my hand. I don't want to put up my hand. Cup, cup, cup. Oh, cup, I'm thirsty. Shut up! Woman, sit down and be quiet. I'm in control of this. I'm a man. Cup, cup, cup. As a resident Kabbalist in the room right now, I say to you with a straight face, the reason you can't concentrate is because there's not enough feminism in your mind. There's not enough girl power in your mind. Mystically speaking, we've totally repressed the feminine power and energy of experience, of tangibility. Machshavas are circular thinking patterns. You guys see this happening? They like to associate, to connect, to make things real. And the man wants to control, and he keeps negating and pushing out, and negating and pushing out. And the woman feels helpless, and she goes, mystically saying, she goes to sleep with somebody else. She goes to absorb her energy from the heart. She doesn't want to listen to the mind. So she takes her lead from someone just to be loved, just to get attention, just to feel her from the desires. And she says, let's go after my fear and my lust and my ego. And the Das says, I want to think about truth, meaning, connection. And the Machshava goes, well, I remember one time a bad thing happened. She says, shut up! I'm the man and I'm in control. And let me tell you about men in your mind. They're impotent. They drop in a seed, and a moment later there's nothing more they can contribute. Isn't that interesting? Let's think about the cup. Let's think about my free will decision. Fear, doubt, pain. Okay, let's not. Change the subject. Stall, stall, stall. Panic. Flip a coin. You guys following what I'm saying? If you want to create a zivug, a relationship between mind and heart, between das and machshavas, like any good relationship, the man is a control freak. You have to get these two working together. And the way you get these two working together, my friends, is allowing the man to appreciate the contribution of the woman. Allowing the man to appreciate and understand, why does the woman operate and act in the way that she does? Why does the machshava always want to do all that funny thing that she does? And if the das could understand that, the gift, the blessing, the nakuda tava, the revelation that the woman has, the gift that she is to him, then instantly he can speak her language. Instantly she'll be seduced and drawn back home. They will have a zivig, and they create children together. You know what children are? The feelings of the heart. the feelings of our heart. This is the secret. I'm teaching you not just a concentration, but complete emotional control. You will not have that by the end of the session, but I promise you this is the beginning of the path to learn how to do that. Because the machshavas are the bridge between mind and heart. I can't cover everything in one day, and certainly not in 2 hours. I'm just dropping the seeds. Listen very carefully, my friends. We defined machshavas as circular thinking patterns that go round and round a point of disconnection. The reason they go round and round, the fear, the doubt, the lust, the ego, is because the das is not treating with enough respect that she'll return to him. And the secret I'm going to teach you today, the mystics call, and the Balei Musa call concentration, rikuz hamachshava. Rikuz hamachshava means to focus and harness the machshavas. Which part of you focuses and harnesses the machshavas? The das. You guys following? So rather than negating or pushing down the machshavas, what I have to show you is to understand and appreciate and give honor and respect to why machshavas do what they do. So now I have to define exactly together right now the key DNA and property and structure of the machshavas. And once you understand that, that information alone will allow you to do the miracle we're going to do today, which is have perfect concentration to transform our heart and transform our mind. So here we go. How exactly do the machshavas work? The nature of a woman is change, flux, inconsistency, movement. This deeply frustrates a man. Women change. The man's waiting at the door. Honey, it's 7:30, time to go to the show. I need another 5 minutes. Why? You were dressed 5 minutes ago. Yeah, but I just have to change my clothes. I'm not happy with it. 7:35. I need 5 more minutes. Why? Well, I'm not sure if I want to go. What do you mean you don't want to go? This morning I said at 9 o'clock, are you sure you want to go? That's right. And you said you did. That's right. And now I don't. And the man's like, ah! I'll be in my cave if you need me. It's a very deep thing that in the crazy, mega, ultra, super Orthodox world that I'm in, which is about 3 levels above standard ultra Orthodox, that's how from I am, that the men wear the same clothes all the time, and women have different colors and change clothes. And there's even a mitzvah from the Torah to buy your women at certain times of the year new clothes. Because women really engage in that. They feel a chiyas and change. Because women can be emotionally up and down. Well, that's really pathetic, and let's laugh at her being up and down. But you're going to see that's the power. You know, you were seduced and captivated by her passion and emotional intensity, and not once you got married, suddenly you're frustrated and upset with it the whole time. The capacity for a woman to feel one thing and then feel another, that's because she's deeply aligned with the forces of change in the world. She's deeply aligned with the moon, which waxes and wanes. She's deeply aligned with the ocean, which ebbs and flows. That ebb and flow movement is part of the process. That there's some times of the month she's able to have children, and sometimes of the month she's connected more to the darkness within her, and she's constantly rotating and changing. Isn't that terrible? That's wonderful if you understand her purpose, because she is physicality, she is reality, she is like winter, spring, summer, fall, the changes of the physical world. Men are always consistent and never change at all. Just wanted to say that out loud, made me feel good. But a bechina, an aspect of a man, is consistency in relationship to the woman. Now listen very carefully. The idea of a woman is the aspect of change. And that doesn't mean she's broken, that means she's alive. The nature of a woman is change and flux and growth. Now if you understand that, listen very carefully. You never, in avodas Hashem, in working on your consciousness, the number one rule in all of Torah is never fight nature. Never break nature. Nature is divine. Science is divine. Your consciousness is perfect. There's nothing you need to destroy, break, or negate. You need to understand, if Hashem gave me this part of my mind to change, to flux, why does it have to do so? I want you to know the word machshava is broken into 2 words. The first is moiche. Moiche actually means to destroy. Machshava moicha shev. Shev means to sit still. Yishuv hadas. Machshava is the part of the mind, which is the noise, which is the chaos, which destroys it in a stillness. Woman, be quiet, sit down. No, maybe that's a power and strength. So what is the secret of machshava? Listen very carefully. Another Hebrew word I mentioned before, which is a synonym for machshava, is the word, hang on, I have to write it like this. I'll write it in English, dimyon. That's what it looks like. Now let me write the Hebrew somewhere else, because the secret is always in the Hebrew word. It looks like this. Dim, yon. How do you translate that word usually? Imagination. So we're going to give you a better definition of imagination. The essence of the Hebrew word always reveals its three-letter root, always reveals its essence, its secret. You got that? So what is the three-letter root of the word dimyon? Now you should know, if you know a little dikduk grammar, Rabbi Nosso could probably help us out with this. It's actually a three-letter root. Sometimes in the three-letter root, one of the key letters drops off in certain forms of the word. Actually, the three-letter root, does anyone know what it is? It's actually doimeh. Doimeh is a Hebrew word that means similar. How does machshava work? In English, the word is associations. It free associates. It constantly moves, right? You ever thinking about something, and then you want to think about something, and suddenly 5 minutes later you think about something else, and you go, wow, my mind just totally changed the subject. Let me tell you a secret. Do you ever do that thing where you can't trace the way back to see how you got there? What you find is the mind just never totally changed the subject. It moves slightly, associating slightly, till it gets to one subject to another, but to a whole bunch of things. You guys got that? You with me? So this is the secret of how it's doimer. It's medamer, the power to associate. So this is how machshava works. Machshava always needs to change. It gets its energy from that passionate night, from the passionate love story, from the beautiful thing the kid said in the moment, but then it needs a new excitement, a new inspiration, a new clothing, a new look. Why do women always have to have that new look, that new image? Because she thrives on the new energy. So listen very carefully, this is very deep. A rabbi said to me, it was very funny once, he said, the way machshava works is like two old bubbas, two old ladies that meet in a shuk. And one says to the other, what are you doing here? The other says, I'm buying fish. The other one says, I hate fish. The other one says, my children love fish. The other one says, my husband's in America. The other one says, oh, America, I bought a shoe there. The other one says, my foot hurts. You know that kind of conversation? You know when there's two people talking to each other, but they're not actually talking to each other? Welcome to your machshavas, okay? Now, this is very deep, so I want you to pay attention, even though I haven't told you how to do that yet. It goes like this. The machshava starts, and let's say you say to the machshava, the das comes in, and the das says to the machshava, let's think about the cup. So the machshava goes, great, cup, it's round, it's rubber, it's great, it looks like the cup I saw at IKEA, I want to go buy cups there. And then it kind of goes, ugh. And now it needs energy, so it stops, it free-associates. Cups reminds me of going out for drinks with the friends last night. That was a great night. I had fun with the friends, the guys, the girls. That guy was there. He was really cute. I hope he calls me. I'm really excited to. He was so nice. We spoke at the bar. A few seconds later, by the way, guess how long one of those bursts lasts for? About 7 or 8 seconds. Is that interesting? Suddenly you think about the guy and the bar, and you're thinking about 7, 8 seconds, then it gets bored and it stops. He's not as good as my last boyfriend. Oh, he abandoned me, he left me, everybody hates me, nobody loves me, right? 7, 8 seconds, I'm going to die alone. All my friends are going to be married. I'm the only one that's not going to be married. 7, 8 seconds, I'm going to be one of those ladies where I'm like, my body is dead for weeks and nobody in the apartment knows. And there's a what, like 7, 8 seconds, and there is all my kids, they're all coming in to take all my furniture and take all my cutlery and take all my cups. Cup, okay, cup, here we go. The brown cup, the thick, right? This is how concentration works. The Das says, let's pay attention to something. This is the secret. This is what I'm going to teach you, the concentration. And it runs and it runs and it runs and it runs. And it stops and runs out of energy. And at that moment, it's a woman. It has to change. So it free associates to something else, boom, and then runs and runs with a new passion. And then it gets to the next station. It stops, it free associates, jumps tracks, and goes to the next station. Stops, free associates, and it goes round and around. And therefore, because the machshava is always moving, because the machshava is always changing, you understand that is the opposite to true concentration. Because the Das says, I don't want to think about all of those in relationships and dying in the apartment. I wanted to think about that cup. And because there's that battle between the Das wanting one thing and the machshava is wanting to move, that's why it's impossible to concentrate. Thank you very much. That was Sinai and Daba, 2015. There was someone at the back who's been asleep, like, when's he done? Oh, thank you very much. Good. Woo! Do you understand the contradiction there? The dilemma of the masculine and the feminine? So here's how you concentrate. If the das and the definition of concentration is to only think about one thing, but the machshavas, by definition, their power, their strength, their magic, their contribution is always to move around many things, how is it possible for these two ever to work together? What if the das were to say, I want to think about this one thing, but this one thing has many different dimensions? And it has this idea, and this idea, and this idea, and this idea. And I could say to the machshava, why don't you think a little about that, and a little about that, and a little about that? And therefore the machshava would have constant movement and engagement with the idea. And it would have movement, but they would always be in a circle around the key idea. Did you get that? In Hebrew you say that the machshava goes me'inyan la'inyan ba'oiso inyan. The machshava dances from subject to subject within the same subject. Therefore, the das gets to choose the direction. And here's the really awesome part. The das gets to choose from the beginning the gardens, the stations, the subjects that the machshava gets to explore. So when the machshava is running and running and it runs out of steam, the machshava doesn't actually care where it goes. And the das just comes in and goes, 7 seconds, let's move on to the next one. And if the das decides from the beginning where to go, the das can just say, machshava, play over here, no, play over here, no, play over here. And the machshava is delighted to do so. And as the das goes around, it guides it and curates the experience of the machshava, and the machshava loves being engaged in that relationship, and together they connect, and together something extraordinary happens. You all still following me? Hands up if you're with me and you get this. Let me give you a basic, quick example. Here's how to concentrate. This is what I call a machshava map. A few thousand people have told me this changed their lives. I cannot show you today all the things you can do with this to shift your consciousness. All I can do is introduce the tool to you. If you're like most people go, that was a cool tool. Anyway, let's have lunch. You're in the shower 2 weeks from now. Hey, remember that thing? But if you're hungry for tefillah, if you're hungry for a voda, if you're hungry for transcendence, this can change your life. If you're hungry to wake up your power of free will to make massive decisions, if you're hungry to learn how to sit down in front of a computer and begin writing with joy and energy straight away to change your state, this changes world. I can just give you the introduction. That's all I can do at this wonderful Sinai and Daba. Here's how you concentrate. You create what we're calling a machshava map. When do we use a map? When we go somewhere we don't know where we are, where we can easily get lost. And therefore, when we know the whole destination and the whole road, it's easier not to get lost. When we start going into our machshavas, we always get lost. So we're going to allow our das to create a map so the machshava knows where to go. You take a blank piece of paper. In the middle of the paper, you write that one thing, the point that you want to think about. Let's say you've got that job interview. Let's say you've got that date, and you're feeling down, and no one loves you, and everything's going wrong, and you need to have a little self-love. And you have about 7 seconds to I'm not so bad. I'm really okay. You know, I did that thing the other day. It wasn't bad. And after 7 seconds, it's like, but you know, my mom hated it, and my mom hates everything, and I'm never going to get anywhere. So what you do is you map it out. Let's say you want to work on self-love. You take a piece of paper. You write in the center the thing you want to focus on. Self-love. And here's the most important thing you do next. Cross it out. Why do you cross it out? Because concentration is not a dot, it's a circle. Self-love, 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 self-love. And then you do the following thing. Think of 5 moments in your life where you felt loved, where you felt worthy, where you felt connected to Hashem, where you felt you accomplished something. Now, you can do lots of different things. You can take a pasuk, You can take a devar Torah, that we all have a chelik of Hashem in us, a portion of Hashem. You can think of a moment of success in your life. Between 4 and 6 is a very nice number to begin with. And what you do is you put them in stations on the board. Everyone think in your own life right now of one moment when you felt self-love, one moment when you felt self-worth. A very clear, exact, particular moment, space, time, day, memory. Hands up if you have one. Hands up if you don't have any memories of self-love and you need to see a therapist right now. We have one waiting out the back for you. Excellent. Who could yell out one example in their life in one word, one sentence, when you did what? Yes. Gave birth. Oh, that's easy. Why is that self-love? I don't understand. Gave birth. 1. 2. Give me another one. South Africans don't feel any self-love. This is a challenge. Sir. What's that? Gave. She already said that. Does you get that? You get it? Gave blood. So you gave blood. You did some kind of chesed, some kind of giving. Okay. Blood. Right. Next, give again a moment of self-worth, some accomplishment you made. Let's hear it. Yes, over there. Exam results. If I have never passed my exams, why would I have any self-worth? Great. Exams. Give me another one. Another one. Another one. Yes.
Finishing half Ironman.
Finishing what?
Half Ironman.
What about the other half? Where's your Makshavas going to go, huh? I'm bad Das, don't listen to me. The evil Das. Finishing the wrong half of... You know the woman that gave birth? She would have done the whole thing. All women. 3 Ironmen. Men's like, I broke through the banner at the beginning of the race. And there's a 4th I'm going to put on the board. Most people in the secular world, apparently us, often put accomplishment-based reasons for self-love, which is deeply disturbing. If I had not given birth and not passed my exams and not done half the Ironman, then I would not be worthy of self-love. It's very important for every single one of you to find some reference point for self-value and love, which is not dependent on something you did. Sometimes I like to write the word on the board to add to this the kotel, the Western Wall. Not because I'm ultra-Orthodox, but also because I'm ultra-Orthodox. Because the Western Wall is one of many places in the world that people come to and they feel pathetic and they feel lonely, they feel disconnected, and somehow they touch that place and something opens up. And they're still the same train wreck they were 5 minutes ago, lack of accomplishments of success, but suddenly they feel so loved and so connected that that's coming from within. Hands up if you know what I mean by that experience. Beautiful. Never forget that. So here we go. This is how concentration works. I'm going to explain it to you once, and then we're going to run out of time and you'll have to work it out for the rest of your life. Don't worry, I already know how to do it. I'm going to explain it to you once, then we're going to do it in an even more weird way together. You clear your mind, you sit up straight, you uncross your arms and legs. Don't have to do it. It's okay, I'm not doing it. Just listen. I appreciate your high level of responsiveness now. And you inhale and exhale in and out through your nose for 3 days. Did I not mention that part? Why do you think I started with that? And then you go give birth. You were thinking about it the whole time, right? Then in your mind, you think about giving birth. And you think about how extraordinary that was. And you think about that moment of the challenge, of the struggle. And then you think about the moment of holding the child in your hands. And you think about how you love that. And you think about what a miracle is. You think about the look in your husband's eye. And then around 7 seconds have passed, and before you start going, and now the ungrateful kid has grown up, and he doesn't write, he doesn't call, he doesn't do anything, you jump before you're pushed, and you go to passing exams. And you choose a very select moment. And you start going, there I was when I got the mail, and I remember my mother was there and she gave me that hug, and I remember my father saying, you're probably not going to pass, you have to work harder, and I remember thinking, I've never done this in my life and I can't do it, but I remember that night I stayed up, and you see it and you feel it and you connect to it, and before you're going, but now I've got a great degree and I can't get a job, and what good was it having a college loan? So you jump before you're pushed, and you say, Iron Man. And you say, I only did halfway, and then you go, no. But what did it take to train? And months in my life, I could never do anything, and I accomplished something, and I pushed myself as extraordinary. And that feeling when running, when my muscles were aching, my will said I can go, and I can push, and I am not what my body is. I am what my mind is, my soul is, my will is. And before you say, and I didn't even get any prize, and my mother was angry because I didn't do the whole thing, you jump before the kotel, and you think of details. Who did I walk to the kotel with, and what was the temperature? And you focus on the senses of your body. Where did I put my hand, and what was that feeling, and what were the tears like running down my face? And you go through the whole experience. And when you go to give blood, and you go through the process of how hard it is, and all the people you're helping, you imagine someone in the hospital receiving that blood. And when you get to the end, what do? What's that? You repeat it. Why do you repeat it? Because machshavas is a circle. Machshavas is a spiral. What you did is you unplugged your machshavas from your heart, and now your machshavas are going after das. We live our lives in exile. We live our lives unconscious because all our thoughts and our direction are being pumped up from our fear, our doubt, our lust, our ego. This is how we got ourselves out of exile, how we awaken, how we become conscious, how we move into geula. Das is gematria 474, the gematria lehigalot, to reveal, to become into geula, because I take full conscious control of my mind, my imageries, and thus my heart. Then you go around and again, and you go back to childbirth. You can think of the same childbirth. You can go through the other experience, because machshavas don't mind seeing the same thing again. You can think of another nuance, another emotion. You can think of other children you gave birth to. You can think of the power of holding a child in your hands 7 to 8 seconds later. And then you go to exams, and you go to the exams, you see the same experience, a different experience, like Ironman, and you see yourself running. Then you go to the kotel, and you go round and round and round. 7 seconds, the end of 7 seconds, you pick up and go to the next. Your das comes in. And what you do is you keep going around and round and round over and over again. And after a while, I'm not telling you, I'm suggesting, you just may find that as you think about giving blood, you think, well, giving blood is like childbirth because it's the sacrifice. And you think about the sacrifice of running. You think, I gave birth to myself, to my soul, to my will. And then you're thinking about exams. You think, because I wanted to push myself to be the best. And Torah's helped me to find my best. And the way that the Hashem guides me. And what happens is all these ideas start free associating, and they start weaving and interconnecting together. And you start to see that all of these are about self-discovery and exploration. And look, I overcame odds, and look at the power that I have, and look at the blood that I give, and look at the light that's been guiding and surrounding me. And what happens is you start to reach a critical mass of consciousness, a kind of a matrix where everything is connecting and unifying. But it didn't actually come through focusing on self-love, a singular dot. It came from going through the details, the fascinating separate pieces of life, and uniting them together and weaving a matrix and a web of consciousness. And all of that feels and seems, and it seems to elevate you to a place that you have no other words for other than something like self-love. And the mystics would say, out of all separate pieces, you built a conscious experience of unity. And when your das chooses a property of God, then you're elevating your mind and your heart all up to that experience. It's pretty cool. Would you like to try it? Unfortunately, we're out of time. Now we have a problem. Hands up if you have a sheet, and on that sheet is 2 lines. Hands up if you have that sheet. Hands up if you don't have that sheet. Okay, you'll have to step out until we're done. Okay, we need some incredible unity in South Africa right now. I hope you can handle this. If you have 2 people next to you with 1 sheet, see if you can pass your sheet off to the less fortunate people in our community who are lacking sheets. Give so they may grow. Look at the power of South African caring, nurturing, giving. You're all making the chief rabbi very proud. Hands up if you don't have one, you still need one. Anyone around you have one? See if you can see one. Pretty good, not bad. It's giving them away. Has everybody got? Everyone got? You got? Hands up if you don't have one, you can't see one. Good. You have a few more there? We have a few more. Hands up if you want one and need one. Okay, listen very carefully, my friends. On this line, you will see 10 minutes. Where did that line come into my head? I'm not supposed to say that out loud. You sat there the whole time waiting to hold that up? Did you think about the wrist action? Is it going to be slow progression? It's going to be dramatic? You did wonderful. Kol hakavod. Everyone needs chizuk. Okay, here we go, my friends. I want everyone to look at these 2 lines. Can I borrow somebody's? Can I borrow yours for a second, ma'am? Great. One says, Hashem created me holy, and one says, I create love in the world. Now, I'm going to flip over what I taught you and do it a different way, and there's a big secret behind this you'll learn shortly. I want you to choose one of these lines that you most connect to. If you have your own sheet, I want you to fold over the sheet like this, and I want you to just look at the one that you chose. If you're sharing with someone else, you leave it open. I want everyone to choose one mantra, for lack of a better term, that you most connect to. Which of these lines do you most resonate with? And I want you to turn it and hold it up for me so I can see which one you chose. No, you chose the wrong one, ma'am. Please choose the other one. I'm religious. I decide what's right and wrong. Good. Oh, I'll get in trouble for that one day. Great. Okay, wonderful. So a lot of people have chosen either one. I'm going to now describe that checking you're still awake. I create love in the world. I'm going to describe this one. Now, this is a mantra, and on top of this mantra, I've put numbers. Anyone can guess why I put numbers on top of each word? Good. So listen very carefully. Excellent. I've done something very weird right now, and if you understand what it is, it's very deep, because I'm very deep. Every word is a station. Every word is something you can explore. So rather than doing a single subject like this and having these, every word is one of these stations. You've got that? Can anyone guess why I chose to do it also like this? Because this is what tefillah is. This is what saying a bracha, a blessing, is. The Baal Shem Tov says every word is a world. When you say Baruch, you know why, as religious, could the secular people step out of the room for a second? You know why we're not at all connected to the mitzvahs we do, religious people? I'm talking to you. Because we think that concentration is done with a dot, but we don't realize it's done with a circle. I just daven like three davenings in one day, just run through. I'm just spitting out words. Spitting out words means I'm spitting out points. But the goal of tefillah is an avoda of the leiv, a service of the heart. If I want to engage my heart, I have to engage in my shavas. What I'm supposed to do is take the word and explore it as a world. There's an incredible story that I heard about what tefillah is, and I've heard about so many different rabbis. I encourage you to insert whatever your favorite rabbi is into this story, and then you will feel that I spoke about your chassidus. And therefore, I get to validate you without having to know who you are or care what you believe in. Isn't that a nice deal? So let's say you're into Chabad. That works perfectly, okay? So the Lubavitcher, I heard a story about the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And someone goes to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and I heard this is a true story, I don't know. And they ask him, if it's not, it doesn't matter. And they ask him a very profound question. This person's a Baal Tshuva. And if you've ever been a Baal Tshuva or know about Tshuva, they often begin not being able to read any words. And when I was a Baal Tshuva, it used to take me like an hour and a half just to daven in the morning with no kavanah, just to be able to read all the words in the art scroll. You know what I mean by that? So this young, slightly naive individual went to the Lubavitcher Rebbe and said the following thing: Rebbe, when I started becoming frum, it took me hours to daven, but now I've kind of got it down to a good routine. I get faster and faster. But Rebbe, I noticed when you daven, you still take a long time. So what are you doing in there? Now, part of me goes, that's a bit of a stupid question, but other part of me goes, we should really know and find out, because maybe we could do it too. And that's something that we teach, because we kind of worked out what it was. But that's a whole seminar for another time. This is the answer he gave. He said to the man, what do you do for a living? He says, I sell insert X product. He says, you sell it here in New York? He says, no, I sell it around the world. He says, how do you get around the world? The man says, I travel around the world, and I sell it in multiple different countries. I do it 2 or 3 times a year. The Rebbe says, where do you go? He says, I start in New York, I go to Los Angeles, I go to Sydney, right? I go to Israel, I go to Paris, London, back to New York. The Rebbe says, do you have a pen? The man says, yes. You have a paper? Yes. The Rebbe says, could you write down the list of where you go? The man's like, why? The Rebbe says, could you write down the list? The man goes, okay. New York, Los Angeles, Sydney, Israel, Paris, London, New York. The Rebbe says, great. The Rebbe says, could you read the list to me? The man said, I just read it. The Rebbe said, could you read the list to me? The man says, okay. New York, Los Angeles, Sydney, Israel, Paris, London, New York. The Rebbe says, Mazel Tov, you just saved a year. What? You just saved a year. I don't understand. Well, you just read all these words, right? So you don't have to go there now. What? The man said, no, these are not words, these are places you have to go to. And the Rebbe went, these are not words, das. They're places you have to go to. Machshavas, heart, experience. The Baal Shem Tov says, every word is a world. Baruch. What does Baruch mean? You ever heard any good class in Chassidus? It comes from Lashon Berech, which means a wellspring of water. Berech, it means needs, it means humility. It means to draw down. Riboin v'tesefta. You can see what the Nefesh HaChaim says on that. It means to increase, to bring down blessings. It means to connect to a source. It means to humble oneself. Why is it Beis Reish Chaf? It's 2200. It's the property of multiplicity. It means to thank. It means to have gratitude. Who do I have gratitude? Who can I thank? There's a world in every word. And then you get to Ata. Boom! Ata. What does it mean, you? How can I call God you? Why is it Aleph to Taf and Hey? It's the Aleph, the beginning to the end and everything else. And who do I refer to as you? Hashem? Oh my gosh. Elokeinu? What does it mean to be my God? Melech? What does it feel like to be a Melech? Have you ever seen a rock and roll star, someone you worship, someone you adore, someone that felt powerful? Whatever that is for you, use your life as a reference point to electrify your heart. Storm your heart, says Yisrael Salanter, with incredible imagery, all connected to the central point you want to focus on. The reason we use these, I create love in the world. I, who's I? Create. What does creativity mean? Love, world, Hashem created me holy. This is what we're going to do now. Are you ready? Enough with the talk. Let's start with the practice. I want you to choose one of these mantras. I'm going to count back down from 5 to 1. Sorry, let me revamp that. In a minute from now, but not yet, I'm going to ask everyone to sit up straight in their seats. I'm going to ask them to put this out of their hand. I'm going to help everyone relax for about 2 minutes. And once you've relaxed, I'm going to count back down from 5 to 1. Listen very carefully. This is the cool part if you can get it right. When I get to 1, I want you to start saying your mantra. I, who am I? What does it feel like to me? I am Doniel Katz. I am a teacher. I am a student. I am a husband. I am a son. I am a Jew. I am a human. Am I the one person that you see and think I am? Am I that real person in the inside? How does it feel to be me? What are my challenges, strengths, and weaknesses? And before I go, I'm a failure and I never come to anything because that's the default setting, the machshava. Then I leap over to create. How does it feel to create? How does it feel like how man and woman create a child, how God created the world? Are you an artist? Are you a musician? Awesome. What does it feel like when that idea enters your mind? What does it feel like when you see that symphony playing your music? What does it mean to create a child? Find a reference point in your life. What does it mean? Bara, Bria, go through the Hebrew words. And before you go, I made that painting and I never sold it and all my art's sitting there, going to waste. Then you go to love, ahava, have, giving. What does it mean to love, to connect? Who do you love? Who inspires you? Who gives you love? Explore that. And then you go to world. What does it mean? My personal world, the big world, the globe. Explore what worlds do I inhabit in my shul, with my friends, etc. What do you do when you get to world? Good. I go again. Same things or different things. Around and around. You keep going. You guys got this? I create love world. I create love world. This is what we're going to do. Listen very carefully because this is the fun part. You're going to sit up straight in your chair. I'm going to help you relax for 2 minutes. Now listen very carefully because here's the catch. I'm going to count from 5 to 1. When you get to 1, you begin the first word. Now listen very carefully. You will find that when you start the first word, you go for about 7 seconds, right? And then you start moving to the next word. And your das comes in and moves you to the next word. Now people always ask the following question, Rabbi, how do I know when 7 seconds is up? The answer is I'm going to come around and tap everyone on the head at the end of 7 seconds. How do you know when 7 seconds are up? Let me tell you a secret. It doesn't matter. This is not a class in the power of 7. We can do that another time. How will you know if you've left it too long? Good. You'll start moving to something else. So what do? You shorten it. You kind of feel out 7 seconds. It's not about the 7. You feel it for a short period, and when you feel yourself distracted, you move to the next. And slowly you'll get the rhythm, you'll get into the groove, and you'll start to move yourself. More interestingly, how do you know if you're going too fast? You're kind of going, I create love world. You're not really engaging. You're not stepping into the experience. I'm going to count back down from 5 to 1. When I get to 1, you're going to begin each word. You're going to begin each word. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to get into the groove. You're going to find the groove. And once you get into the groove, you're going to go for it and enjoy it. After a period of time, should you totally get distracted, what do I want you to do? Raise your hands. And I'm going to see if we can beat 7 or 8 seconds. Let me clarify one point before we do this little group experiment. At the beginning, you may get distracted. That's because you haven't got the groove yet. Don't put up your hand yet. Take a few seconds, explore it, feel it out. What does it feel like? You guys got it? We're going to see if we can beat 7 or 8 seconds. Before we go into this, one last tip. In the seminar, we teach 5 with an optional 6 rules that make machshavas much more potent. And I want to tell you what these rules are. These I've seen in Mussar Svarim and mystical Svarim. How do you make it machshavas even more engaging? Very simple, my friends. Number 1, what's called in Mussar Svarim tziurei chushi, sensory. Think in the 5 senses. When you go to the kotel, when you do the exams, what do my eyes see? What do my ears hear? What do my eyes see? What can I smell? They're giving me the exam. You know, I had that jacket on. I feel it. The hot heat was there. The kotel, it was my friends had their arm on my shoulder. I can feel it there. Think in senses. Go after what's chushi. That's number 1. 2 is klal prat. Don't go kotel. Think about the details, who the bricks, who was there, what time of the day was it. Start filling in all the details. Number 3, hislavus. Choose emotionally powerful imagery. Choose consciously the most powerful, emotionally evocative part of that experience. Number 4, tenuas haseichel, constantly keep moving. Number 5, meshech hazman. That means you have to give it the space to really connect to it. And if you're in the audience and you're weird and ultra-orthodox like me, or any of that spectrum, the optional 6, which is big secrets for unbelievable things you can do in the world, but we can't tell you here and now, is choose memories or images of something kadosh and holy. By kivrei tzaddikim, by a certain mitzvah, a time of the year, a holiday I connect to, you will find that, forgive me for saying out loud, this is the beginning of supernatural insight, the capacity to have Ruach HaKodesh, Ma'at, or intuitive knowledge, that if you start thinking of things that are holy, tzaddikim, or svarim that you know, as part of the image, you begin to draw in something higher than your knowledge and wisdom. Optional extra, forget about it, we'll come back to it another time. You guys ready to do this? Can anyone stand up for me, please? That was a 2-hour class. You must be exhausted. You must be tired. I need everyone to get some energy. Okay? I don't know what you want to do. You can move your hand in funny positions. You can stretch your body. But for 30 seconds, I highly suggest you get a bit of adrenaline going in your blood. 1, 2, 3, go. I know some people don't move their bodies, so that's a little confronting. Okay, clap with me. You ready? Slow clap. Not bad, South Africa. Hey, oh, hey, oh, la, 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 la. Can you do this one with me? You ready? Keep going, keep going, going. You're going to do it that way. Can we put that together? You ready? Work with me here. Sit down, uncross your arms and legs, take everything out of your hands. If you need to look at the sheets to remember it, you're welcome to put it in front of you, but I will remind you what to think and it will be totally fine. You won't need it. A wonderful experience. Let's explore this together. I'm going to help you relax your body for 2 minutes. I'm going to count back down from 5 to 1. When I get to 1, you're going to begin. I create love in the world. Hashem creates me holy. It's going to take you a bit to get in the groove. If you can't concentrate, don't put up your hand yet. Enjoy it, search it, explore it. Once you get into the groove, your mind is yours. Swim in it, enjoy it, surf it. Should it be that you totally break concentration, put up your hand? By the way, if you have to put up your hand, you've told me, great, put your hand down and try it again. You'll get it the second time for sure. Let me tell you one more thing. You've got nothing to prove right now. If this works for you, it doesn't mean I'm more right or wrong. It doesn't mean you're better or worse. If this doesn't work for you, it doesn't prove me wrong. You'll try it again tomorrow. It'll probably work for you. You don't need this. If you connect to God, if you connect to your mind, it doesn't make you a better or worse person. You've got nothing to prove. You are loved. You're worthy of love. Everything's okay. We're just exploring together now. Enter into a state of curiosity. What will happen if I don't need anything? I release my expectation. It's called hislamdus. I'm going to allow myself to learn. Whatever happens, if you're aware of what happens, next time you'll be stronger doing it. You'll learn from the experience. Close your eyes. Allow your body to get as comfortable as it possibly can. If you need to shake something up, you'll shake up. If you need to stretch something, stretch it. You can do whatever you need to do the whole time. In the end of the day, it makes no difference to the power of the exercise. If any time you need to move, you'll totally move. Allow your body to relax. Give yourself permission to relax. There's nowhere else in the world you have to be. There's no calls you have to take. Lunch will be saved for you. They are saving lunch for you. You're okay. And we're just playing together. I want you to know, no matter what happens, we have already succeeded. We have a good portion of Johannesburg people here. We are trying together to connect. No matter our beliefs, no matter our background, no matter our experience, we're trying to connect. That is already beautiful. This is already magical. Anything that happens is just bonus points. Allow your shoulders to relax. Just to feel warm and heavy and relaxed. Your shoulders feel warm and heavy and relaxed. Whatever they feel is totally fine. If you're used to calming your own mind, getting into a more mindful state, do whatever you need to do that. If not, just follow my voice. Your shoulders are relaxed, your arms are relaxed. Your hands and wrists are relaxed. Your wrists are warm and heavy and relaxed. Warm and heavy and relaxed. You're doing great. Your torso, especially your upper and lower back and your stomach, warm and relaxed. Your back is warm and relaxed. Your lower back is warm and relaxed. Your hips are relaxed. Focus on your legs. Allow them to feel warm and heavy and relaxed. Whatever's happening for you, I want you to know is totally fine. Even if you don't think this is working, it doesn't really matter. We're just giving ourselves an opportunity to feel a little calmer. So just enjoy the process. Imagine your feet are just heavy and warm and just melting into the floor. You're doing great. The energy in here is great and you're doing fine. Your feet are melting into the floor. Your legs are relaxed. Your hips are relaxed. Your torso is relaxed. Your shoulders and arms are relaxed. Your neck is full of light and relaxed. Full of light and loose and relaxed. Your head is floating calmly and relaxed. Calmly and relaxed. On the count of 3, I want everyone to take a big, deep inhale. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Go. All the way in, all the way in. A bit more in. Hold it. And deeply exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the way out. all the way out. Beautiful. And in. All the way in, and hold it. 2, 3, and out. You're doing really, really well. And hold it. 2, 3, and in. Hold it. 2, 3, and out. Okay, just come back to normal breathing. Allow your body to do whatever it needs to do, feel whatever it needs to feel. I want you to know, no matter how you feel, this is 100% going to work for you now. It's 100% going to work for you now. You're about to see. Before we begin, do one more exercise with me. From that place of a little more calmness and openness, I want you to know with certainty, whether you believe this or not, whether you understand this or not, but we in this room are deeply connected. We have one soul, one destiny. It's a very beautiful thing. And there's a power that comes from being mindful of that connection. And I'm going to count to 3. When I count to 3, I want you to make a simple decision in your head, a simple intent, that I would like to connect to everybody else in this room. Don't think about it. Don't rationalize it. Don't question it. Just go, I am now connected to everyone in the room. Choose it and believe it. Choose it and believe it. And whatever blessing comes from that, the power of our unity, allow yourself to feel it. If this is too weird for you or confronting for you, totally ignore it. It'll be done in 8 seconds. We choose together to be connected and to feel that connection because we are truly one. On the count of 3, just choose it and know that it's true. Nothing else to think about. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Just be open to that. It's true and I accept it. Next. I'm about to count back down from 5 to 1. When I get to 1, you'll begin your line. I create, love, world. I create, love, world. Or Hashem created me holy. Hashem created me holy. At the beginning, you'll get into the groove. If you get distracted, don't put up your hand. Have patience with yourself. You were born to do this. You were born to concentrate. It's the most natural, easy thing in the world. After a while, once you get into it, should you get distracted, just raise your hand and then go back into it. And let's see what happens. There's nothing you need to prove. Don't need to prove me right or wrong. The fact that we're trying, learning, exploring ourselves, our minds, our hearts, is already success. I create, love, world. Hashem created me holy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ask everyone to take a very deep breath. Inhale and exhale. And in your own time, open your eyes. Hands up if something interesting happened in there for you. Hands up if something awesome happened in there for you. Anyone know how long that was? 3 minutes. Look around the room. How long? Hands up if you're pretty much still concentrating by the end. Hands up high. Look around the room. That's pretty awesome. One person dropped out at 90 seconds. One person dropped out at 105 seconds. Two people dropped out at about 1 minute, 2 minutes and 5 seconds. I would love, if we had nothing better to do with the afternoon, go around and hear what happened to people. I'm sure people are going to come and tell me right now. Hands up if that was like incredibly easy for you. Hands up if it's kind of shocking how easy that is. You were born to do that. Ours is not a path of negation. Ours is a path of elevation. Think existentially, philosophically, how we've been pushing our thoughts out of our mind, but the machshava is the powerhouse of consciousness. Do you get that? And what we were lacking is the Torah's clarity. Why does the machshava work what it is? Torah wants to give us that clarity for sexuality, for money, for family, for children, for everything in the world. And the very thing that you spent your time resisting is the thing that can elevate you. When you sit down next time to write the essay, what I want you to realize is the das can never speak straight to the heart unless it goes through machshavas. You're trying to say, I want to write the essay now, but your heart is worried and frustrated and anxious. What you do is you write a machshava map. Why do I want to do this history assignment? Because I want to graduate. I'm excited about World War II. I have this beautiful idea I want to explore. Then you go round and round and round, and you will find your heart suddenly gets electrified. We all know what it feels like. It's hard to start writing, but then I don't want to stop writing because my heart's now in the zone. This is how you get yourself in the zone. Every blessing you make, you enter into the world. You guys get this? You guys hear this? Great, the path of elevation is yours. Thank you so much for your time. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for saying thank you. One thing, can I get a microphone on? Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3. Somewhere in a little bag in the room, watch how practical that is, there's a bunch of cards that talk about a seminar. We go on like this for about 10 days learning thousands of tricks from Torah sources. Does anyone have that bag with cards? Can you just throw them here if people want to come and take a card? They can sign up to get a newsletter. It could be we will bring this to South Africa one day soon with the Lord's help. You're welcome to hear more. Maybe just throw them on the floor in the front and people can take them, otherwise they'll drag forever. More over there. Just throw them out. Thank you.